Good morning, power to the people, everybody. This morning, I just gotta say a couple things. You know, I see how everybody's talking about this Kanye West rant that he did and his views and his way of trying to get to get his point across to the crowd, like on some goofy shit. Um, I don't want y'all to think that this is a new Kanye. Like he always been off. I could tell y'all a story personally. Um, in St. Louis, I think may have been 2015, something to that nature. And I was snowed in at St. Louis Airport on Christmas Eve, and I went to the bathroom. I missed like three flights, man. The third flight was totally my fault. Like I fell asleep and the flight left without me. But I went to the bathroom to wash my hands, wash my face and everything, just to wake up a little bit. And as I was coming out the bathroom, Mr. West and I kind of bumped into each other. And he was like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" Oh, all right. What's up, Kanye? And just being, jokingly, I was like, "Man, what you doing in the airport, man? Like on Christmas Eve?" And he was like, "Man, I'm going to visit my family." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's what's up." But he said it was in such a way like it was like, "Nigga, what? Like, what you mean what I'm doing in the airport?" So I left it alone or whatever. So I'm thinking that it's all over. And I get to my gate and guess who's there? Kanye West at the same gate I'm at. Now this is where it gets interesting, people. Um, as I'm looking at my flight times to see, if you're familiar with the airport, they got the flight times, the big old screen that lets you know what airline and the flight times, the departure times, the arrival times, all that good stuff, right? Right? So I am over there looking for the next flight so I can, see when I'll be able to get out of this airport. Mr. West is this is before all of the social distancing and everything. He was maybe 10 to 12 feet away from me, right? As I'm looking for my flight time, he says to me, uh, "Hey, excuse me, dog. I ain't trying to ruin your holidays and nothing like that, but can you give me some space?" And I'm like, "Bruh, you got all the space you need. I'm not even thinking about you, man. Like, you good? Like, I'm like, you alright? I ain't even, like, I'm not trying to ruin your holidays or all that." I'm like, "Nah, man, you ain't ruining my holidays. You good? Like, you good? What you doing? What you doing? Because he was actually on his phone or laptop, and he had his phone like earplug in. I guess he was talking on the the laptop, whatever the case may be, his setup that he had. So at this point, I'm like, this nigga crazy. Like, the audacity of this motherfucker here. He got 12 feet and he want more space. I guess he must have thought I was a fan trying to like get close to him to try to like get his attention. But if anybody knows me, I'm the last person to be starstruck on anybody. I don't give a fuck who you is. You can ask anybody, Dr. J, anybody I've ever met and been in close quarters with. Ain't never been a starstruck moment we ever. So, um, but I'm like, cause I don't want to be bothered by the ignorance, so I just moved like maybe 6 seats down, and I heard the lady that he screamed at at his little rally, the young black girl that he screamed at, and she went on, to, public media, social media, and said like, "Yes, I'm the one that Kanye screamed at, and I had my views, and I interrupted him, and he antagonized me, and he." Signaled me out and put me on the spot. But she also went to say that a white girl who did the same exact thing she did, Kanye West, brought her on stage and gave her a hug, and all of this and all of that. So it just brought me back to the point But I'm like, damn, he really is like that, because back in 2015, when I had my little run-in with him, same kind of thing happened, where he tried to tell me to give him space. I sat like maybe 6 seats down in a different row in a different section, but still like he was in my eyesight, so I could see his movements and everything he was doing. Once people started to realize who he was, this white lady with her children came over there, and Kanye West turned into this happy-go-lucky, jolly, oh, let's sign whatever you want me to sign, and he's taking pictures and all of this, and I'm like, wow, like, this nigga tried to play me. Like, so me being who I am, like I said, anybody will tell you, I'm 100% me. 100% human being. I walks over there nice and politely. I excuse the white people and say, excuse me, Mr. West, Kanye West. I'm like, and he like, oh, what's up, man? I'm like, look, bro, I respect what you've done in hip hop and everything, but I'm not a fan of yours, okay? You make good music, but I'm not a fan of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, for the most part, I do what you do. So I'm not a fan of you. You make good music. And I'm like, and second of all, you don't know me. And he like, well, what you talking about, dog? I'm like, man, you asked me to give you room and space. Like, that was real, like goofy of you in so many words. Like, he's like, oh man, and then he gets on to talking about how him and Jay-Z met and how he approached Jay-Z like 3 or 4 times before Jay-Z actually gave him a moment. Like, he like, hey man, I just kept, the big homie, that's what he called Jay-Z. He like, the big homie just kept brushing me off, and but I just kept going at it. I said, Mr. West, I didn't want nothing from you, bro. I don't want you to think I wanted your autograph. I wanted anything from you. That is not what we here discussing right now. And he then got to the point where he was like, you know what? I respect you, dog, for walking up on me and letting me know how you feel and all this. What you say? You do music, right? So at this point, he made the little white girl that was standing there, because the white people at this point, like, why is this black guy harassing Kanye West? Like, they looking at me like I'm some kind of bad guy, right? So I'm like, okay, moving right along. He makes the little white girl, go to Starbucks and get him like a napkin and a pen or something. I can remember, right? So he's talking to me, still talking to me like, hey man, like, we got to stick together, man. This music shit is a motherfucker. It's a trip, blah, 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 blah. So he then continues to write on this piece of napkin, like, while he's talking to me, writing and, kind of creating this kind of a diversion, so to speak, right? And he like, yeah, man, he like, this is my manager, man. Tell him I gave you his number personally. You ran into me at the airport, what I'm saying? And this is his number and blah, blah, blah. And he folds the napkin up. He gives it to me and he says, peace out, daddy. And he goes up the escalator ramp, and that was the end of that. That's the last I saw him, so... I go back to my gate seat and I sit down, and, just to entertain the situation, I open up the napkin and I'm looking, and it's scribble scrabble. Yes, scribble scrabble. He scribble scrabbled a bunch of shit on this napkin that made no sense whatsoever. Gave it to me and hot-tailed it out of there. Like, I was like, yo, this dude is really, what I'm saying? Why would you go through all that? Like, I didn't want anything from you, Kanye. Not one handshake, not one autograph, not one picture. I didn't want nothing from you. And you went through all that to do that to me, but the white people, you gave them the whole welcome, pleasantry, everything, right? So I say all that to say this, y'all. Kanye has always been that way. This ain't no newfound shit. He's always had something against his people. You know what I'm saying? And just the way he views us. I mean, he knows he's black, but he has a distorted vision of what really goes on with his own people. He's disconnected from us. He's connected with us, but he's on Rome. Like, he is not, his Wi-Fi, his service is not his frequency is not on our frequency. He is on Rome. He's connected, but he's on Rome. He hasn't found a location yet. The location hasn't detected where Kanye is yet mentally. You know what I'm saying? So he is definitely out there. He's gonna stay out there because he's been out there, and that was damn near 10 years ago that I went through that, like 8 9 years ago, something like that. That I had that encounter with Kanye, and he was a goofy even then. Like the shit he had on was super goofy, man. Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But if I ever see him again somewhere in the midst, I'm gonna recollect, bring that back up. You know what I'm saying? Before he gets to say one word, I'm gonna just punch him dead in his motherfucking chest. Like, I ain't the one to play with Kanye, and you got one coming if I ever see you again, Playboy. Power to the people.